Something went terribly wrong. What was supposed to be a Saturday afternoon adventure initiated by a loving dad soon became a lifelong memory for my entire family. It began with a short bike ride with two of my oldest daughters, Allie and Kirby, who were 5 and 3 years old, respectively, at the time. I strapped them into the bike trailer, and we were off to a living Candyland where they could choose anything their little hearts wanted. In reality, this Candyland was only a local convenience store with a large candy section, but to them, and with a little help from Dad's verbal skills, it seemed like Willy Wonka himself had invited them into his factory. Their innocence, coupled with the total confidence that only children can have in their daddy's words, had left them completely captivated. A few turns and a short ride later, we found ourselves walking down the largest candy aisle on our side of Dallas. Clearly, this was before the days of Buc-ee's, which is best described as a gas station/convenience store that is more the size of a small mall with candy aisles in it, proving that everything is bigger in Texas. But I had promised them that they could each pick out anything they wanted. I'd also assured them that I and my decades-old candy-consuming expertise was there to help. Fullness of joy and pleasures forever, I assured them that all this would be theirs if they would only let me help them. Stick close and trust me, I said. I know where all the good stuff is. All I wanted to do was bless them. I wanted nothing from them other than the privilege of sharing with them my life, my resources, and my love of things that were good. Come and see, I promised, that no good thing is withheld from those who love me. When we were finally inside and standing before the seemingly endless aisles of options, they were appropriately impressed. M&Ms, Sprees, Starbursts, candy bars of every kind, gummy bears, buckets of gum surround them like waters surround fish. There was only one problem. They were both so little that they could only really see the lower shelves. And anyone who has ever been to a big candy store knows that they don't put the best stuff down low. Down low is where the penny candies live. Single wrap Laffy Taffy, individual Jolly Ranchers, sometimes even individual Starbursts. To my 3-year-old, though, this wasn't a problem. It was an opportunity. She was certain that she knew the way to the good life, and she needed no further instruction from her. There is no way he can know what is good for me better than myself, Dad. She immediately fixated on a certain piece of candy conveniently located on her level, the bottom shelf, and then brought it into the clutches of her sweet and ever so confident little fingers. Her choice was seemingly perfect for a 3-year-old. It was pleasing to the eye, bright red with yellow designs, round and impulsively easy to reach. She was oblivious to the fact that it only cost a few cents and that even though it was pleasing to the eyes, it would not be pleasing to her palate. She couldn't see that her self-confident choice was actually keeping her from the even greater things available if she would just set her mind on the things above and listen to the one who created her. I honestly had not yet paid much attention to my younger daughter, Kirby's choice of candy because Allie, my 5-year-old, was engaging me in her selection process and was therefore having a much different experience than her little sister. Allie was not content to pick from the shelves she could see. She knew me better than her little sister because she had spent more years in living with me. She knew I was able to use my strength to lift her up to places she could not otherwise go, and she knew that I knew candy. She knew that anything with her daddy involved was going to be better than going it alone. So instead of reaching out for the easiest choice, she reached out for her daddy's hand. I was always ready to take that hand, and the little person attached to it, into my arms and carry her to a better place than she could ever go otherwise. I lifted her up, and we began perusing the upper shelves where the choices were more plentiful and much, much bigger than the lower shelves offered. She asked me lots of questions, and I shared with her lots of warnings and promises about what each choice would give her. I listened to her describe her confectionery desires, and she listened to me describe the best way to satisfy them. It wasn't long before we chose together a 3.5-pound bag of Skittles. Meanwhile, I was frequently looking over at Kirby, and I kept assuring her that there was another strong arm willing and eager to scoop her up as well. But it was becoming increasingly obvious that she was passionately committed to her own appetites. She clearly did not understand that her ways were not my ways, and that my ways were far better. If you want to say it this way, I could say as high as the candy packages in pounds is over the individually wrapped candy, my ways are better. Each time she said no, she seemed so full of self-confidence that she instead showed me that little piece of candy she had chosen all by herself. I tried many times patiently to talk her out of her choice, but it was clear that she had made her mind up. I told her that even though she had chosen what looked good and satisfying, I was certain, as an expert in the field, that it was not what she really wanted. I kept offering to take her up in my arms and help her find something that would be far better, something of even greater value, something that would bless her for far more than a fleeting moment. But she was resolute, and since I had given her a choice of anything she wanted, that was that. I told her that she was free to make her choice, but she was not free to choose her consequences. That bright red candy was hers if she wanted it, but it was going to be hers to eat.